Tēnā koutou māmā, nau mai ki tēnei hōtaka, e kia nei ko whare tangata. We're starting to create a series called Whare Tangata specifically for our Kia ora māmā hapori, our Kia ora māmā community. Why? Because we need it. Why? Because we don't have enough information to inform us, to empower us about our tinana and about what we're putting in our tinana. So this is what this kaupapa is about, and I'm so lucky to have two beautiful wahine here to share their experiences, to share their stories, so that it might help you. It might help your sisters, your aunties, your mum, whoever, all of us, to help all of us, to empower us to know what to do with our tinana. So koera te kaupapa, we're talking everything and anything contraception. And like I said, I'm so grateful to have two beautiful wahine, two māmā here to share their stories, to share their experiences. We have what I'm calling her, and she's too humble to accept this, but I'm calling her our mātanga, Kasey, who's going to share insights from her background in the medical space, again, to help provide context to some of the kōrero that we're going to share. So e mihi ana ki a koe te hoa, Kasey, tēnā koe. O tira, Maria, he tino wahine koe e hoa. E mōhio ana tāua ki a tāua, and I just see you as a super mum for the way in which you've raised your beautiful tamariki. So I'm just, again, I keep saying this, but I really am grateful that you've taken the time out to be here with me, and we're having a cup of tea. We're just going to have a kōrero about contraception, because like I said at the beginning, unfortunately, we don't have enough of these conversations. And what I've seen in Kia ora Māmā anyway is that our mums probably don't know enough, or we're following what our friends did, or we're Googling stuff, and that's how we're coming up with our decisions about what we're doing for our tinana. So that's what this kaupapa is about. And we're just going to get into it by talking about our lives, our experiences, and then probably get more specific about some of the types of contraception. Pēhā tērā.
Yeah, kei te pai.
Ka pai. So I think we'll start with you, Kasey, because I want to know about you, about the mahi that you do every day in our hohipera, but we'll just start with a ko wai koe no hea koe, your mum life, and then your mahi.
Hai, o tēnā tātou.
Kia ora.
Ko Kasey tāwhara tōku ingoa, no ōtaki a hau. Ara, ko ngā te raukaua te iwi. I nei, e noho ana taku whānau ki konei. Ko au tētahi o ngā tākuta, he gynecologist, ki te hohipera, he māma hoki au, e tōru aku tamariki, teenager.
Fun.
Ai, te kauma whitu i nei.
Oh, wow.
Tōna tau. And then my two littlies, 9 and 4.
It's a bit of a gap, eh? You played that well.
Yeah, ko taku iramutu, te mātāmua. Noho ana ki konei nei.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
What does a gynecologist do?
I know, right?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, my whānau will tell you they don't do that. I don't do anything that they want me to do.
Right, yes.
Nā te mea, he nui taku whānau. Ka pirangi rātou tētahi tākuta i ngā wā katoa.
Yeah, tika.
Engari, he gynecologist, he tākuta mō te hauora wahine. So actually, I'm a gynecologist obstetrician, so a doctor for pregnancy.
Cool.
And so I work on the birthing unit a couple of days a week type of thing.
Wow.
And then gynecology is where I see people for contraception.
Yeah.
Or actually more when contraception might not be working and they come from their GP to see me.
Kia ora.
Endometriosis, take mō ngā ikura. Maybe later in life things like prolapse.
Oh.
And you had your auntie Melissa there, the pelvic floor physio.
Yes, she was awesome.
Cool. So that kind of kaupapa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anything around te whare tangata.
Did you always want to do this?
Ka.
Yeah, right.
So my mum's a midwife.
And
I always thought she worked crazy hours and I'd never do anything like that. Engari, I went to medical school and I always had an affinity towards hauora wahine.
Kia ora.
And so I love it.
Yeah.
There's no better place than walking onto a birthing unit. There's no better place than kind of having a kōrero to wahine about things we don't talk about.
Yes, no, that's right.
So, yeah, that's my tino mahi.
Well, we're tino happy that you are here and all of your experience and all of the mahi that you do, because it's just so fitting, like here describing what you do and what we're here to talk about. So, tēnā koe hoa. Ai, ka tahuri ki a koe, Maria. Ke te mōhio au, no hea koe, hoi anō mō te hunga e mātaki mai ana. Ai, karawhiua.
Well, kia ora tātou. E noho miharo ana hau ki taku hoa, Kasey ki taku taha, me ona pūkinga katoa.
Ono.
Tua taira me mihi ki a koe. Kasey, awesome.
Yeah.
O te rā kia koutou, o ara taua, o te rā ki te kaupapa kia ora māmā. Yeah, mai kore ko koutou, ko koe hoki kaurangi tērā. E kore pia ngā māma e whai reo, e whai hoa. Yeah, mō ngā take huhua ka pāngia kia tātou i te hunga wahine. No reira, tēnā koe. Nau I pōhiri mai au.
Tēnā koe tō whakai.
O ngā tihine, o ngā puhi ahau, no ngā tiparau anō hoki. He whakapapa tātai whakaheke no ngā ti whakaui anō hoki, no roto I a koutou. Ko taku kuia tērā I whakairi ana ki tētai o ngā pātū, I roto I te wharenui o tino hopu. No reira, ko ai tērā, koe rā waku tātai whakaheke. Toko whetu wa māua nei tamariki, me ngā bonus tamariki. Kāre pai ana ki te kupu step heoi.
Kia ora.
Taku moi o rua tekau mā toru pia, tekau mā tō te mātāmua, ki tō nirotaha. Taku bonus tamahine tuatahi, ko kalani tōna ingoa, rua tekau mā rua, tēnei tau.
Ai, he nani koe,
Ai, nani ahau, maua ko Jade me, matu ko Jade me Jani. He waimari ana ko whai wāhi tonu ahau I roto I tōna oranga.
Tino Māori tērā.
Ai, yeah. Me te pai hoki o tōna māma, you know, te aki tērā wāhi māku. Heke ki te mātāmua, nā kui whakawhānau mai, ko te aho tōna ingoa, tukau mā waru, tōna pakeke, o te raki a te awai, tukau mā ono, te pakeke ngā rangi mihi, bonus tamariki anō tōku, tukau mā rima. Yeah. Tere ware ngā. Te pakeke tango ki tamariki taku hape.
Me kaua e pātai, hei ahia ngā rā whānau.
Tukau mā rua te tau taku kōtiro ake, me te pōtiki, wari tau te pakeke. So, e hunuku mai mātaki konei ono tau mua, ge te mata tētahi ara anō mā mātau. Yeah, so, koe tērā, māmā, maha waku pōtai mahi, kiri mana, engari, ko waku tohu, I riro I au I te whare wānanga, he physiotherapist au by trade, so I roto au te ao hauora, mai te rawa. I nā tai mai te rongo, I te rapuko I te tai tangata, hei kōrero hea tēnei take, yeah, me te hoki whakamua, waku whakaro, waku whea ko iau e tipu mai ana he maha ko Pākehā. No reira, he wāhi, mōku te kōrero he rā take, mo te tūpono kia āwhina tētai atu.
Kia ora. Koera, you know, I te whakaro ake mo etahi wāhine, hei tuku I o rātou wheako. And I know that it's not actually an easy thing to say, yes, I'll share my contraception journey or I'll share my mum life and story. So it's very much a privilege to have you both, you know, agree to this and want to share your story, because it's just, if it helps one person or it gives another woman, another māma, just a little bit of perspective or encouragement or whatever it is. Koera te hua nui. Ko kite au I tērā I roto ia, kia ora māma. Every time someone shares something, it brings light to someone else. So thank you. Thank you both. So yes, we are talking about whare tangata.
Right.
We are talking about contraception, and we've all got different journeys. And, you know, I'm seeing that every time we talk about it on Kia ora Māma, it's just like, boom, all of these perspectives, but all of these questions too. Like, am I on the right one? am I doing the right thing? So I think maybe we'll start with you, Kasey, and just talk about contraception in general and what you're seeing or what you're feeling in your space.
So contraception is either in the community or up at the huipera with me. And so as a gynecologist, we learn about contraception. A lot of it is in primary health. So that beginning, so your options, your kōrero, often starts with the nehi at the kura, your GP, and that sort of thing. And then mehe raru, take, then they can come up to the huipera to us if there's more to it than that. And so it's a huge kaupapa. And talking about the different types, because I think that's what a lot of the kōrero is about, which one's right. Takes a bit of time and space. And I think part of the issue is that often when you're seeing a nurse or seeing your doctor, there's not the time or space or enough time or space given to be able to really have a kōrero to women about their life, their journey, to kind of figure out what might work for them. Because it takes time to kind of figure out what people will suit. Because there's lots of different options out there, and they're all really different.
No, that gives us a good little first context, kōrero. But I guess the biggest question is, how do you know, like other than time and space and a quick Google search, how do you know what is right for you?
And so I think the first question will be, as a wahine, what am I trying to do? Am I trying not to get hapu this month, this year? What are my whakaaro around hormones? What kind of discipline do I have in terms of the kind of ways to take different contraception? Those are probably the beginning.
Kia ora.
Would
those be the first questions that you should ask, like when you're going to visit someone? Like a doctor?
I think you should ask about your whānau, about your mahi. What does life look like for you currently?
Kia ora.
And these are the different methods and how they might work, but also this is what it might, or the level of commitment it might take.
That's a biggie.
And
because it has to be practical, because if we think about the pill, can you take that every day? Are you committed enough to do that? You're right. It's the practicalities of life.
The day and
Kia ora.
that.
Cool.
So it's like, what does your life look like at the moment?
Nice.
Is it going to suit?
Great segue. What does your life look like at the moment, Maria? Because I'm sure it's different now compared to when you were probably, 10. We'll go just 10 years ago.
10 years ago. I'm just sitting here shaking my head because I think that if I would have been asked that,
it would have been different. Yeah. And do you think a lot of our young ones aren't? Why aren't we asking those questions? What is it for us?
So I warned everyone I'd cry in this one because it's emotional. I think it's emotional because when you go and see a doctor, and hopefully it's a little bit different now with our kōrero, and I'm thinking about our kōrero. They don't
ask.
What they do is it's quite traumatic. Sorry.
No, please don't apologize.
The questions, it's like, when you're young, 14, 15 years old, and so I realise that sometimes the nurses are in the kura now, which is another take around taking autonomy, around whānau, and just giving contraception to just kids, but that's what actually happened to me. So my first encounter with contraception was when I was 15. And it was actually a morning after thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an option. It was just a, you need this. You know, being a Tamaiti Māori too, we didn't have any Māori doctors, you know, and I'm showing my age now, but we went to family planning. So I was at in town and it was, you need this. And then I'm getting a procedure, you know, for emergency IUD, which is a morning after, you know, what do you call it? Intervention.
Age 15.
Yeah, 15. I had no clue. I had no clue.
Did you have anyone with you?
No. And then I think from there, you had to get it out, you know, and then it was with a man.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking about that 15-year-old.
Yeah. And how many other 15-year-olds?
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you go and ask for the pill by yourself because you're brave, you know, and it's family planning.
Yeah.
So you go and pretend that you're brave at 15 years old. You know what you're talking about. You really don't.
No.
And then they say things like, they bring up body weight or, you know, like for the pill. So they
do too.
You know, like, oh, you might be too overweight for this. You know, as a 15-year-old. And it just messes. It's a mind beep, really.
Yeah.
So our system's got so much to be accountable for, just in terms of that first interaction with primary health.
Kia ora.
And in my reflections around the trauma. And it, you know, I'm quite articulate. I thought, you know, I had my shit together when I'm 15. I can have these conversations with adults.
You could be brave.
You know, can be brave and ask for contraception.
Yeah.
And so you go on the pill, you know, and then when I learned more about it, I decided it just wasn't for me. One, because of the discipline stuff, but two, because I was wanting to know more about what hormones are going into my body at 16.
At 16, you're asking those questions, but actually those questions are coming later in life when, for younger women, kōtiro, that's just what you do. You know, here's a pill. Okay, I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to take that, but I'm not questioning.
No.
What is this going to do to my tinana, and how is it going to impact me?
Yeah, so I'm just reflecting on it's been quite traumatic actually.
Yeah,
I haven't even got to now.
Yeah. And I'm unpacking that all again.
Yeah, thank you. No.
But then, like, thinking about the kōtiro in your whānau, what does that mean for you now?
So I was thinking about driving here about like our mums.
Yeah.
Kāri
kōrero tia.
I nei take, tapu I nei take, ki ngā wahine. And so that's what I try to reverse, and probably the same way, is to just normalise this kōrero with our kōtiro and with our tama. So, you know, I don't hide anything. I don't hide, you know, my pads, my tampons, nothing. It's all in the cupboard for everyone to see. You know, as before he mea huna. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Me mutu tera.
Me mutu i runga. Ki te pērā ngā āhua ka huna ia tonu i ngā kōtiro, i ngā take ka pāngia kia rātou.
Koia.
So as awkward as it is, you know, I'm that mum. I get a paper, all right, there's a yedaras, there's a blah, 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 there's a ikura, you know. Whānau wānanga. And my boys are like, oh my God. But I'm like, no, me mōhio koe.
Kia ora.
Ko tētai take I whakakaha ia hau I taku piringa ki taku hoa. Ki aia I tahuriki nei take, I kaha kōrero tia, nā te me ko tahi no iho tōna kōtiro me mōhio I ki nei take.
Yep.
So he's just been so incredibly supportive for everything I've gone through. It's just been able to give me the ka to normalise the kōrero in our whare. So that my tama can be supportive of their wahine when these things happen, because they happen to every wahine.
That's right.
You know?
And I think that's a really big thing, is that ka noho tēnei taumahatanga ki runga I ngā māmā, ki runga I ngā wahine, ki runga I ngā kōtiro, mau tēnei kawenga. But actually, you know, it takes two to tango. And why is the tango only having to be taken responsibility by the wahine, by the kōtiro? So if I can just pick up on the experience that you had as a kōtiro, what are you seeing? Is that still kind of the same sort of scenario?
I'd like to hope not.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I wouldn't be 100% sure.
Yeah.
Because actually we do still teach that would have been the copper IUCD me, as a form of an emergency contraception. I guess maybe that's more limited now because you need a practitioner to be able to do it. And a lot of the emergency stuff is over the counter at pharmacies now. And so they are just having a kōrero, and they can only administer a tablet or the pill type of thing. And rohe by rohe, family planning's only in a few places around the motu. It's not everywhere actually. And so another whole kaupapa around contraception is access.
Access.
And how you get it.
Yes.
So, family planning, but in a lot of places,
No.
no.
Can I talk about family planning? Because that might actually be a concept that a lot of us don't know about, or what that even means.
Family planning.
Yeah.
No, they're still around.
Is that what it's still called? Or?
Yeah, so in primary care, or I call it the community kind of health, there are clinics, and they're called family planning, and they provide access and contraception, or they help have a kōrero around family planning.
Kia ora.
Run by GPs mostly, and training is specialised in that kind of area around what's the latest and greatest with contraception, what can we get in New Zealand, because hara tētahi anō, can we get things in New Zealand, do you have to order it online, and all of that sort of thing. And they were set up so that in the community there was access and cost barriers that were going to be reduced to getting contraception, because the government funds so much to GPs and so much to family planning.
Can we talk about the procedure in terms of, so you at a young age, is it called IUD?
Yeah, it was IUD.
What does it stand for, and what's the
intrauterine contraceptive device, IUCD? Typically, we call it the IUD as well. So intrauterine device.
They used to call it copper foil.
So it comes in a hormonal or a non-hormonal form. Okay. So copper or Mirena, JDS type of thing. Yeah.
So again, I didn't really know what was happening, so you just let it happen to you. And I remember the nurse's words. It's the kupu that sit in your brain, so what did she say? It was, I remember saying, you're only just a little bit older than my girl. And I'm like, well, choice, I feel a choice, first of all. Second of all, we Pākehā, so you tau mai era, whakama hewe. And then you get it inserted, much like the Marina. But it was afterwards, so I think remembering now, it stuffed up my ikura from there. And so I actually was on placement here during my physiotherapy training. Because I forgot about it. I was like, no one followed up on me. It's family planning was by Auckland Girls Grammar, so you just crossed the road and went up there. It was this place that, was shrouded in darkness. And you only go there if you're being naughty. And then when I was here, I contacted the family planning, and they only had a male doctor on, and the clinic was, I can't even remember, down the hospital, but it was like in the dark alleyway, because he mahi huna. He was the only one in the room. I had to lie on my side, and so it was all different. So I couldn't see him. He was great, but everything about it was just icky. Yeah, it made me feel icky. Yeah. And then I was bleeding a lot from there. And so he removed it put the thing in. Yeah. Thing called speculum.
Yeah, what did Kitty call it?
The duck thing. Yeah. Kia ora, Kitty.
Yeah. And withdrew it. And from there, I just had continuous problems. And I was 15 when I got it in. And I'm 43 now.
And you've still, ever since then? Wow.
Yeah.
Did it stuff up your periods and your cycle and your tinana, and what were some of those effects?
Hormones, I think too. So I had that. We went on the pill journey, got off the pill journey, and then had my pepe. So 3 of the 4 were conceived on the pill.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work? No.
Yeah, so it didn't work for me. Which is beautiful because I have my children.
Yeah.
But then when you want to plan later, I had a jadel. Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah, the thing that goes in your arm, which was great because I thought that I could just take it out and get hapu again, and it never happened. So I got it removed when I was here in Rotorua. You know, mo te tūpono ka whiwhi ia pepe anō. But what they didn't tell me when they inserted it was that it was going to stuff my fertility up and my cycle up. And so my period didn't come back for 2 years after I got it withdrawn, taken out of my arm. My period didn't come back, for 2 years. But when it did, it didn't stop.
So just continuous.
Yeah, and so I realized this is only my personal experience, and others it will be different. But I think it's about the information. So if someone would have said to me at the beginning, this is what might happen to you, make an informed choice for you, I may have not chosen that and just chosen to do natural method or condoms or whatever.
But you weren't told that.
I wasn't told.
How old were you when that was? You wouldn't have been 15, right?
No, so when I moved here 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So not that long ago.
No.
Yeah, and then I've talked about what's happened to me since then in terms of the system. But it's information at that point. So, you know, if you want to plan a whānau later, it's actually not as easy as just get it out and off you go, can help you again.
That's a huge misconception, right? And I've seen that in some of our comments from our māmā saying, I thought it'd be that simple. Tangohia, ka hapu anō hau. Why doesn't that happen, Kasey? Or what are some of the reasons for that?
So the depot is notorious for that more, so the injection aid, but some of those methods like the Jadel. And so most of the contraception that we have is aimed at like inhibiting ovulation, essentially. But sometimes that message can kind of suppress it for so long it actually takes a while to lift that once it's gone, if that makes sense. It's kind of been quietened down and then it takes a while. And it is hard to predict because equally you tell people, we'll take it out and there might be a delay getting your ikura back, etc. And then they come back to you 4 weeks later and they're like, you told me it was going to be a while. And so those hormones and that suppression that you've been on with your contraception, I find really hard to predict, and I can't even begin to think, yes, you'll be one that it'll be delayed or and I don't know why everyone is really different. Is it their baseline hormones? Is it everything else that's going on in their life?
Yes.
Because we know that your hinengaro, your roro, governs most things. In terms of hormones, it all starts up here. Ka haere e rā mea hia te rā kupu mō hormone.
Taiaki.
So it goes.
There you go.
More te whare tangata, it's hormones mai te roro, ki ngā ovaries ki te whare tangata.
Wow.
And it's like signal from there to there, there to there. And different contraception will aim to block different parts of that pathway.
Interesting.
And then it's lifting all of that again. And then that go. And there might be other things involved in that.
That makes sense for me too, because when I moved from Auckland, because I was single mum, you know, for tamariki, it was really stressful. And when I moved here, all of a sudden I didn't have that stress. Sounds really weird.
No, you're marama.
Yeah, so my adrenals were shot, basically living in Tamaki, living the rat race. And when I moved here, it wasn't. And so my body cracked up. Yeah, so because we had no stress.
Like, now we're going to go and...
Right, we're going to relax. No. Yeah, so it sort of went all wonky, and then I ended up getting thyroid issues. And even now when I'm talking to my GPs and my specialists, everything's siloed in their thinking. And so I think, you know, I had to make the association myself between my thyroid and the role it has in metabolism and reproduction function, fertility and all of that. So I had to do my own ngahau. So stress, I think if I managed stress a lot earlier in the pace, that some of this may not have happened.
Kia ora. I think that's a big, like, just hearing this kōrero, that's a really big kaupapa for us as wahine, as māmā, is that we know, like, we all get stressed as AF. But the effect that has on everything, and in particular our whare tangata, and just trying to find ways to tune yourself, easier said than done. But I think that's probably a really good point to make here, is that we need to think about that, and why is this not working for me? It can't just be a physical thing. It totally is everything. Yeah. And I just want to probably encourage some of our māmā to ki te ruku, ki te āta, te aki i tō tinana, i tō wairua, i tō katoa, when thinking about contraception and like looking at the practicalities of this. Yes, can I commit to this? But also, how am I? What's gonna be okay for me? What would be some of your tips for that?
For
how to not be so stressed AF? No, no, but all of that. Yeah.
Learning how to say no, maybe.
Kia ora.
Etahi wā. Again, worst at that.
Yes.
And finding somewhat of your anchor there. And you talked about being supported by partners and whānau in general.
Yeah, so important. Yeah, my tane makes me rest. Yeah, I have to schedule in rest.
Kia ora.
Yeah, in my diary.
Yeah, lovely. No, you got to schedule that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't, but you got to do that.
Yeah.
Nā he mea nui tēnā. And he hapea etahi o kōrero āwhina, o kōrero aki to that same 15-year-old wahine, that kōtiro, or that 30-something-year-old lady who's been going through the things that you've gone through.
I think he ore te pia ki te hauora o te hinengaro, me kōrero. Me whai wai koe te kōrero ki o kōtiro, ki tō māmā, ki o tuahine. Ko te kōrero te rongoa. And so when your stress goes down, you feel better, everything else starts to fall in place. So
I understand that.
Whakamahi a tō tātou mātauranga take he awhina i a koe.
I think that was a beautiful way for us to kind of come to a whakakapi pia i a tātou kōrero. I just want to go back on some of the things that we've shared, but the biggest take home that I've had anyway is to really, ki te ruku, te whakatau i tō hinengaro, i tō wairua, do what you need to do to help that. Hei oranga mai. Hey. And kōrero, which is what we're doing here. So, wahine māmā, if you have any kōrero tautoko i tēnei, if you want to share your story about your experiences with some of the things that we've talked about, tēnā tukua. Hei oranga mau, hei oranga mo tātou katoa. E mihi ana ki a kōrua. Thank you, ladies. This was really powerful and beautiful, so thank you. And ko te tumanako i whai hua koutou i tēnei kōrero, i tēnei wānanga, ka nui te mihi. Tēnā koutou.